Dream. Extinguished is an instrumental hip-hop album by American producer, rapper Danny. The album is the third and allegedly final installment in Danny's famed Dream instrumental series and, like its predecessors, bears Danny's anthroponym on its cover, an ominous all-black sleeve, rather than his stage name in an effort to distinguish himself from Daniel Swain, the record producer, and Danny, his rapper alter ego. Originally intended for an April release, Dream. Extinguished's date was moved forward to January 29. See 2008 in music. To compensate for the unforeseen delay of an I Love H.E.R, his fifth studio album. Unlike the first two entries in the Dream trilogy, a promotional tagline for Dream Extinguished does not exist. Cancellation and subsequent release. A mere day before it was set to be released to the market in 2008, Dream Extinguished was withdrawn by Danny himself, much to the surprise of anticipating fans. For reasons unknown, Danny abandoned the entire project, leaving only a sparse quantity of promotional copies in U.S. circulation. As a result, Dream Extinguished became the first and, to date, only title in Danny's discography to not be released, making it the most coveted record in his extensive catalog. Rumors of the project being given a proper domestic release were confirmed in late May 2009 via Danny's website. The Japanese version of Dream Extinguished made its first retail appearance on June 23, 2009 via iTunes and other major digital stores with a track listing, allegedly chronicling a year-long relationship that ended on sour terms. That closely, but not entirely, mirrors its American counterpart. 3 years later, the European version came out. It is not known when, if ever, Dream Extinguished will be released in its original incarnation, as all three of Danny's instrumental albums were duly promoted as beat tapes. A few of the tracks included on Dream Extinguished were later utilized by rappers such as Danny Brown, Lil B and Whale on their respective projects long after its release. American track listing. Intro 009. Produced by Daniel Swain. Parisian Sunrise 1:55. Produced by Daniel Swain. So Peaceful 2:10. Produced by Daniel Swain. Contains elements from Peaceful by Al Johnson, from the 1978 album Peaceful. God Bless the Child 2:10. Produced by Daniel Swain. Contains a sample from Cry to Me by Lolita Holloway, from the 1975 album Cry to Me, and Broken Hearted by Brandy from the 1994 album Brandy. Lucky Me 2:10. Produced by Daniel Swain. Contains elements from The Dream by Patrice Rushen, from the 1980 album Posh. Danny, why hasn't your Def Jux album come out yet? It's been more than a year. Yo. 1:53. Produced by Daniel Swain. Contains samples from Amiibo by the Lajada Sisters, from the 1976 album Danger. Chrissy Sound 1:46. Produced by Daniel Swain. Contains elements from Summer Weaving by Melanie, from the 1972 album Stone Ground Words. Been Away 3:07. Produced by Daniel Swain. Still Royalty. Learned from the Best 2:19. Contains a sample from Let's Do It in Slow Motion by Lattimore, from the 1977 album It Ain't Where You Been. Produced by Daniel Swain. Fruit Bootin' 2:39. Produced by Daniel Swain. Contains elements from We've Only Just Begun by Grant Green, from the 1971 album Visions. Jabberwocky 1:22. Produced by Daniel Swain. Never Say Never 1:50. Produced by Daniel Swain. Contains samples from Love Rain by Jill Scott, From the 2000 album Who is Jill Scott? Words and Sounds Volume 1. When I Need Some Love. 3. 59. Contains a sample from I Don't Know No One Else to Turn To by Melba Moore. From the 1977 album A Portrait of Melba. Produced by Daniel Swain. Smoff 1. 25. Produced by Daniel Swain. Janelle Monáe 1. 29. Produced by Daniel Swain. Contains samples from Every Little Thing You Do by Christopher Williams. From the 1992 album Changes. Minute of Your Time 1:00. Produced by Daniel Swain. Time's Up 1:28. Produced by Daniel Swain. Loneliness 1:20. Produced by Daniel Swain. Contains a sample from Loneliness Remembers What Happiness Forgets. Quote by Stephanie Mills. From the 1975 album For the First Time. My Baby. Remix 3:16. Produced by Daniel Swain. Contains samples from Distant Lover by Marvin Gaye. From the 1973 album Let's Get It On. Jet Society 3:30. Produced by Daniel Swain. Hurt No More 2:40. Contains a sample from I Need You Now by H.E.R. From the 1984 album Fragile. Produced by Daniel Swain. Easy, Breezy, Beautiful 4:10. Produced by Daniel Swain. Sao Paulo Sunset. Kiss Your Dreams Goodbye 3:33. Produced by Daniel Swain. Japanese track listing. Intro 0:09. Produced by Daniel Swain. New Beginning 1:35. Produced by Daniel Swain. I Am Music 1:52. Produced by Daniel Swain. Contains samples from Stay With Me by Mars. From the 1982 album Make It Right. God Bless the Child 2:09. Produced by Daniel Swain. Contains a sample from Cry to Me by Lolietta Holloway. From the 1975 album Cry to Me and Broken Hearted by Brandy. From the 1994 album Brandy. Lucky Me 2:10. Produced by Daniel Swain. Contains elements from The Dream by Patrice Rushen. From the 1980 album Posh. Better Than I've Ever Been 1:28. Produced by Daniel Swain. Contains a sample from Does He Treat You Better? Quote by Unique Blend. Das Boot 2:22. Produced by Daniel Swain. Contains elements from B is for Bass by Raymond Guillet. From the 1973 album Bass Contra Bass. Pineapple Gumdrop 2:17. Produced by Daniel Swain. Contains elements from It's Easy by Nick Kingman. From the 1976 album Distinctive Themes, Race to Achievement. Still Royalty. Learned from the Best 2:19. Contains a sample from Let's Do It in Slow Motion by Lattimore. From the 1977 album It Ain't Where You Been. Produced by Daniel Swain. The Radio 2:53. Produced by Daniel Swain. Tight 3:00. Contains samples from Next Time I See You by Sylvia. From her 1973 album Pillow Talk. Produced by Daniel Swain. Never Say Never 1:49. Produced by Daniel Swain. Cat on a Hot Tin Rufus 2:26. Produced by Daniel Swain. Contains samples from Mariana Mariana by Maria Bethania. From the 1971 album A Tour Presencer. The Merry-Go-Round Broke Down Again 3:26. Produced by Daniel Swain. Janelle Monáe 1:29. Produced by Daniel Swain. Contains samples from Every Little Thing You Do by Christopher Williams. From the 1992 album Changes. So I Say to You. 1 for Sylvia. 1:39. Contains an interpolation of So I Say to You by Sylvia Street. James. from her 1980 album Magic, produced by Daniel Swain. Hey! 2. 14. Produced by Daniel Swain. Contains elements from Daylight by Ramp, from the 1977 album Come Into Knowledge. Danny's Lament. 2. 31. Produced by Daniel Swain. Contains samples from When I'm Gone by the Jones Girls, from the 1980 album At Peace with Woman. Loser. 2. 14. Produced by Daniel Swain. A Minute of Your Time. pt. 2 inches 1:00. Produced by Daniel Swain. Liberian Girl. I's a heartless wench, but it's hereditary, so it make a sense. 2. 36. Produced by Daniel Swain. I'm Leavin'. 2. 10. Produced by Daniel Swain. Contains samples from Never Can Say Goodbye by the Jackson 5, from the 1971 album Maybe Tomorrow. Panamanian Sunset. Kiss Your Dreams Goodbye Again. 14:00. Produced by Daniel Swain. Credits: Daniel Swain, Executive Producer, Producer, Composer, Danny. Art Direction, Creative Director, Dream. Extinguished. Audio snippets at AllMusic.